Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach and welcome to my latest team. I'm going to take a look at my side over the last, I think I probably did a video 11 or 12 days ago. Got some good engagement, which was great. So, yeah, if you've got any thoughts on this side, feel free to pop it in the comments. Let me know how your team's going as well. If you've got any thoughts on what videos you'd like to see, feel free to shoot those through as well. Now, the way I'm going to do it is I'm just going to start with my side basically as you would have seen it last time. So no changes here, but obviously I've made changes. So I'm just going to work through them. And it's mainly in the back line and the forward line. A few rookies have, changed hands, but that's, give or take, doesn't really matter. What I want to sort of work through is the defenders and the forwards, and particularly the forward line. I've had real difficulty sort of landing exactly where I would like. And I guess off the top, I might touch on it later, but there's definitely a few speculative picks, a few risky picks where, already there's, say, Miller, Young, Simpkin, Green, and in the forward line you could maybe say Zeeble and Bruce, so yeah, I'd take it on board that there's definitely a little bit more risk than maybe you would normally go with, but we're still a fair way out from round one, and I'm happy to have those guys in my side and just see what unveils over pre-season. I don't really want to make those calls myself, but some of them will be made without me even having to do anything. They might just play not very well. They might cop an injury. Even at the moment as I'm filming this, I know Bruce has copped a bit of a shoulder concern and is going in for scans, so I'm not exactly sure how that's going to pan out for him, and that would provide a bit of a headache because I'm pretty set and I quite like the Grundy-Bruce arrangement. So nonetheless, let's kick on with the video, and I want to start with this back line. So let's start with Whitfield. Now, it just seems to get worse and worse, doesn't it, with his sort of mystery injury. It just got to the point where he just had to go. He's struggling. And to be fair, mentally I'd been trying to bring Laird in because I just felt like he was just becoming a must the more and more I thought about it, because he's playing midfield and this and that. And obviously he's just sort of out of my price range there. So Laird does come into my side. He's in my side at the moment. Whitfield, I'd love to get my hands on him at some stage throughout the year, and I'm sure I will, but just the way he's travelling at the minute, I just don't think we can start with him. The fact is he's in doubt for round one, so it makes it pretty clear, but I always get a few concerns when a guy just has an interrupted pre-season. It just makes you a little nervous. So Laird goes in, but for the point of freeing up some cash. This one might surprise people. I am parting ways with my great friend Caleb Daniel, one of my favourite SuperCoach selections. And you might be thinking, Shorty, what the hell are you doing, man? You love this bloke. Look, this is the man I've brought in, and you might just go, really? Callum Mills. Very interesting. Can I get... Oh, fuck. Jeez. Oh, for the sake of this goddamn video, let's just drop Bianco and get some fool in at 117 something K. Just for the look of it. G'day, Harry. How you going? And let's bring Laird in just for a bit of fun. Cool. Now that just looks great, doesn't it? Laird on the bench, that looks fantastic. But you get the point. So what's my thinking behind that? You're probably thinking, Shorty, Callum Mills, walk me through that one. What's going on there? The reason I like him is because he's going in the midfield. That's why I like him. And I know you've heard me say that a lot of times about a lot of players, but he's a superstar on the rise. I mentioned him in my point of difference video the other day. He sort of played as a halfback flanker, intercepting for a long time now. But he was drafted as a midfielder and drafted high. Pick 3, super talented guy. So the fact is, he should be ready to go in the midfield. He's done an apprenticeship that's way longer than probably what we first anticipated. Just annoys me when that's like that. So that's my new look backline at the moment. Yeah, Mills is a little bit of an interesting selection, and the reason I dropped Daniel was because he's a fantastic player, but he's not really going to deviate too much in his price because he is so consistent. I don't think we're going to see too many changes in his price, so I don't feel like he's a guy that's going to get out of reach. He's not going to score 160 a few times and all of a sudden I can't afford him. He's going to live around 80 to 110 for most of the year. I want to get him in and I'll hope to get him in soon, but I just like the fact that Mills, Daniel is probably, that's probably about right, an average in the early hundreds, where Mills averaged that as a halfback flanker, and there's no reason to suggest that he couldn't increase that as a midfielder, and you could mount the case that he could plummet and just not really find his way there, and then after round 4 he's back on the halfback flank and he's only averaging 90. So, you can cut it both ways, but at the moment, I'm really keen on that. I like it. And the Laird selection, it just became pretty clear that, he really needed to be in. A couple of comments from the coaching staff, just talking about how he's clearly part of the midfield group and the way he ended last year, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, gee, you just got to get this guy in. So it's a bit of a fresh look. It's quite interesting. Like I said, the midfield didn't change. I love that top 4. And I'm sticking to my guns with Simpkin. I really like him. Class act. I've said that a number of times. And look, Green, I do love him. He makes me a little nervous with that price in the midfield. It does. A lot can go wrong with that. But for the moment, I'm just keeping him there. I don't have to make these hard calls yet. I'm happy for him to be there. I love Jordan Clark. Really happy with that. Rounded out with the rookies. But look, in terms of Green, like I said, he might play a pracky game and I watch him and he's not really in the centre bounce much, or he's not getting game time. And I might go, well, that's easy. I'm not going to destroy my brain trying to work out where he's going to play. I'll just wait for it, see what happens, make a call then. But at the moment, he's an inside mid. I think he's one of the Giants' probably top 3 inside midfielders. So I reckon he should be in there. And hopefully he can replicate a bit of Clayton Oliver back in the day. And obviously the ruck stayed the same as well. We might revisit that if Bruce is to miss round 1, which, there's got to be a reasonable amount of concern over that. But let's move into this forward line. And the forward line's sort of been doing my head in a bit. I found it difficult to sort of land exactly where I would like. And there's something about the side bottom pick that just didn't sit well with me. We'll need Dangerfield and side bottom at some stage, but Dangerfield, he's missed a lot of footy through this pre-season, missed a lot of training. Groin injuries concern me. I just don't know if I want to start with him. I just think there's a chance he could start sluggish, and I'd hate to pick him and he does start sluggish, and then I'm going, well, I told you, mate, why'd you do that? So I'm happy to not go with him off the top. And look, side bottom, there's just something about it that just says, no, I don't know what it is. I know he'll be a top 6 forward. I just hate the price. I hate how expensive he is because I just don't, 109 average, I just don't think we're going to see that. So he went, and I'm sure you're all very pleased. Rowan Marshall is into my side. I have probably talked him down a few times, but I've always backed it up with the fact that, he could still start in my side. It's not to say that I'm writing him off, but yeah, of course, I'm still concerned that Ryder is going to share the ruck with him. But, I just feel comfortable that he's just a great footballer. Of course, it does concern me a little bit with Ryder. It does, but like I've spoken about, there's a big 5 in the forward line. You'll need them at some point. Dangerfield, Sidebottom, Dunkley, Marshall and Martin. That top 5, they'll be must-haves at some stage through the season. So it's just about working out which ones I wanted to start with. So those concerns about Marshall remain, but I've probably got more concerns about Dangerfield and Sidebottom, if that makes any sort of sense. Now, this next selection, this will throw you into a head spin. So Heaney's gone. And mainly just he's playing some match sim and stuff, but there's a bit of talk about him being forward and that type of thing. So it sort of concerns me there. And look, I'm scrolling. I am scrolling hard here. You probably think it's Shorty. What are you doing? Cameron Rayner, welcome to my side. That's some big balls activity, that is. But I feel all right with it. I feel okay. He could be an absolute trap. Classic bloke who's dominating in the preseason and then just doesn't continue it. But let's not forget the talent attached to this guy. Drafted pick 1, just a bullet a gate type midfielder, capable of kicking goals, and we've seen it in glimpses. But the big question mark has been his tank over the last few years. And he's up and running with Berry and McCluggage now. You know, he's doing well in the time trials. Time trials don't always mean something, but when a guy needs to lift his tank, it means something. And that was a big improvement. And he's just torn up the match sim stuff. And I know you can't always read stacks into that, but this guy's a midfielder. All signs lead and point to him beginning that career as a midfielder, not a forward. A bit like Callum Mills, you know, both these guys were touted as going to be some of the best midfielders in the game for a decade. They've plied their trade elsewhere, whether it be for fitness, team structure, just ability to transition into that stage of their career. At the moment, the stars are looking like they're going to align. Cam Rayner's not a forward. Mills isn't a backman. They're midfielders. And they're bloody good ones. So I'm backing him in at this stage. Of course, I need a little bit of encouragement through the pre-season, you know, an actual pracky game. But at the moment, I'm comfortable with him there. Now, how much coin do we have on offer if I get rid of old mate Laurie there? Yeah, so look, I was looking at my side or the forward line at least, and I hate Zeeble at 4, and then rookies. I just don't like that. It made me a bit nervous, and I thought, look, is there anything that I can that can take my fancy in the upper echelon of rookies and around that sort of, you know, that sort of mark? And I've mentioned this guy before, and this will draw criticism, no doubt about it. This will cop some flack, I'm sure. Plays for Carlton. Paddy Dow. G'day, mate. Hello. Get into my side, my friend. Now, can I just say, to an extent, he's a placeholder right now. He is in my team at the moment, but any guy that bobs up around that price or less, you know, it might be a dominant rookie or something like that, is going to come into the team. So it's not to say I'm absolutely in love with Dow, even though you can mount a pretty good case I am. But he is looking great. He's looking fantastic. I know they always say they are looking great, but he dominated in his, they had the intra-club, and for his side, he was one of the best in the midfield. And right now, I don't reckon he's in the best 22. Like right here, right now, if Carlton played Richmond tomorrow, I don't reckon he's running out there. But the fact is, he's doing everything he can to break into that side. And I can see him, if he gets into that side, I can see him averaging solid numbers. Yeah, he's not the greatest kick, and, you know, of course he has his setbacks and his drawbacks as a player, but at 200k, because I mentioned him last year, he was probably up around 300 or so, a bit more risk, but at 200k, a lot less can go wrong. Like he's just an expensive rookie. It's like, you know, it's like you're picking the number 2 or 1 selection in the draft. He's around that sort of price. Dow is a former top pick, can win the ball. There's never a question about him winning the footy. It's more so what he does with it. So I'm loving every article I read. He often gets a mention. So at the moment, he's in there. And I like the way that it just strengthens up the forward line, because I was a bit concerned, you know, that second row of the forward line just looked shocking, you know, with just Zeeble and then rookies. It just sort of made me a little nervous. So I wanted to just flesh it out with someone who, of course, has the same sort of risks, but has been in the competition for a while. He's not just some rookie. And I think he's at a crossroads in his career, really. So I'll monitor him, see how he goes. But that is my side at the moment. So let me know what you reckon. And feel free to chuck your side in the comments, or any players that are sort of on your mind, ticking away in terms of selections you're making. I'll look to try and do another one of these in a week or so, or whenever I think it's relevant with some changes. But yeah, there's definitely a few changes there with the back line and the forward line, sort of a reshuffling of some premiums and a couple of risks there. But we're still a little bit away from round one. Still a bit of work to do, I'm sure, but that's how we're looking now. So thanks again for tuning in. I'll chat to you guys soon. Cheers.